everyone. My name is Kevin Nevels, and I am proud to serve as the chairman of the board of the Coppell Chamber of Commerce. And one of the distinct pleasures of this job is to get an opportunity to interview our candidates that are running for city council. And I'm joined with an awesome candidate, Erin Bogdanowicz. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you're running for place 5, correct?
That's right. Thank you for having me.
Well, no, happy that you could join us. Like I said, thank you so much for being here today. And I do want to go ahead and jump right into our questions because I know the people that are watching these videos are excited to get to know the candidates. So first question we'll jump in with is, why are you running for city council? And, why should the voters choose you over your opponents?
So as far as why I'm running for city council, as you know, because we went to high school together, I grew up in Coppell. I love Coppell. I lived here since the 80s. I did leave and go to college and law school and then lived in Dallas for a while, but I came back. So I really do have a very deep love for the city. It's not something that I take lightly. So I would like to see positive changes on the council. I think the council is doing a fantastic job, honestly, but at some point, new people have to come in, and so I'm excited to make a lot of changes that I think the council needs. As far as why to pick me, obviously the first reason is I'm Coppell bred, which go Coppell Cowboys, obviously. So when we talk about, Brad Hunt and Laura Springer and those type of people that are leaders in our community, those are the people who bred me, and those are people who brought me up through all the Coppell schools. I went to Pinkerton, I went to West, and then I went to Coppell High School and graduated from Coppell High School. So I think that that's important because, as everybody knows, Coppell loves Coppell. We love to have a tight community. We think we have the best city around, and I think that we do. The second is I am a small business owner. I do own a family law firm solely. I'm the sole owner. I manage the law firm. I opened it about a year ago. So I have extreme experience managing a budget, which I think on the city council, that's one of their most important jobs, is to make sure we're managing the revenue and the expenditures of the city to where, the people's money is used wisely. So I have been able to have a very successful law firm. We have 4 lawyers now, and I'm very good with managing a budget. The third reason I think you should pick me is diversity in both age and gender. So Nancy is obviously one of 2 women on the council who is stepping down, and we're running for her place. If a woman is not chosen for this seat, we will only have 1. So Brianna will be the only woman left on the council. And I think it's important to have a woman's voice. Our city has lots of women, moms, working moms, stay-at-home moms, and I think it's important for those women to have a voice. Diversity in age, I think, is important as well. Obviously, I have small children, school-age children. I have a 3 and a 6-year-old. They're both obviously in Coppell. My daughter goes to Cottonwood Creek. So I think it's important to have somebody of our age group on the council because we just have a different perspective. And I think that every generation should be represented on the council and be able to have an input. And if, I am the only person that can provide that perspective. With regard to, sorry if I'm getting too long, Kevin, just tell me.
No, you're great. You're great.
So with regard to being all 3 people running for my seat are lawyers, but not all lawyers are created equal. So I am the only candidate that is board certified in family law. There's only 1% of the attorneys in the entire state of Texas. I think there's about 800 or 900 of us that are board certified in family law. There are multiple different areas of practice that you can be board certified in. So only 8% of the attorneys in the entire state of Texas are actually board certified. So that means, I've had to go through a rigorous process to actually get additional certifications. I've also received awards that the other candidates do not hold, such as being recognized by Super Lawyers, ND Magazine, in the area of family law. So I think that all of those reasons, I think my other 2 candidates are amazing, and I like them both very much. But those are the reasons I think I will provide a fresh perspective.
Excellent. Thank you so much for answering that question. Moving on to our second question, what are 2 or 3 of the most important actions that you would take if elected, and how would you advance those and fund them? Because I think that's really important.
Well, I think there's a lot of things we can do that don't need to be funded that I feel like the council can improve upon. And this goes back to my perspective and my generational situation in life. But I do think that our social media presence on the council is a little bit lacking. I feel like the way that they post the videos for, especially now, because with COVID, you can't go in person. Not that our generation likes to go in person anyway. We want to be able to vote via text, right? So I think that a lot of the things that I would bring to the council is trying to bring us back into the age that we're in now, as far as the website, social media presence, access to government. And this is kind of, sorry, jumping to your last question. But I think that if the videos and the meetings and all that was more accessible to our generation, as well as, you know, older people as well, I think that that would provide the citizens with a lot more information about what's going on, what decisions are being made. You know, they don't do a live feed to Facebook. They don't do it on YouTube. I think that it's basically just archived on the website, which I've watched obviously all the meetings since the COVID thing via the website, and it's just very cumbersome to watch the videos, to rewind through them. And I think that as far as the website goes and social media and just access to the citizens, I think we really need to improve on that. And that wouldn't cost anything. You know, I built my own website for the city council in about 15 minutes. I run my own firm website and I use WordPress to do that. As far as, you know, social media, I think that that's very easy to use if you're able to set up a page for the council members. I know the municipal page has their own Facebook page, but the council doesn't. So I just think that there's a lot of those things that don't cost any money that will be a huge benefit to the citizens and be able to have, you know, more access to what's going on, because it seems very difficult to access, to me at least. And then obviously, one of the bigger things recently was the increase in the water fees. The cost of water that Coppell was charging was significantly lower than the surrounding counties or surrounding cities. And so we just had to make a huge jump in the cost of water from what it was to get comparable. And so I think one of the things I would suggest is incremental increases to the water each year, so that we had a static amount for so long. And then now that we obviously need revenue, and I think they were probably going to, or should have done it anyway, it kind of jumped up drastically. So I think incremental increases in the water would be something that I want to do. Thirdly, with regard to businesses, I feel like, and I've felt like this since, you know, we grew up here, there's just not, restaurants and nightlife is just super lacking. And so I would really love to see us somehow bring in restaurants, and that will in turn bring in revenue for the city, bring in some more nightlife, maybe to Old Town. Old Town is kind of, you know, not as effective as I think that it could be. I think we could really do something special with the arts center there, similar to how Grapevine has utilized their, you know, Main Street, that type of thing. I really think that that could be beneficial for not only the citizens, but also to generate revenue for the city. So I think that focusing on the businesses that are in Coppell and trying to make them more successful and drawing more people to Coppell rather than people leaving. You know, when you're going to go out for dinner, you're going to go out to have a drink, most people don't stay in Coppell, they leave. And why is that? I don't know, because I would prefer to stay in Coppell. I would love to drive 5 minutes or less to Old Town and go, you know, have a nice time there and then go home than to drive to a surrounding city. So that's one of the other things that I would really like to see Coppell improve on.
Well, excellent. Well, that takes us to our next question. You know, we want to talk about development and redevelopment. So, you know, where do you think that emphasis needs to be in the community? Do you think we need to focus on residential or commercial? And how do you think that Coppell in general has performed in this area?
Well, unfortunately, so when I live on the west side of town, so, and I always have, I grew up on the west side of town. So back in the day when there was nothing there were horses. I think that the council really did focus on bringing in to the warehouses because of the revenue that it would generate. Now we know with the change in the sales tax that we are not going to get most of the revenue from that portion of the city. So, you know, obviously those people are set and those warehouses are built, but surely there can be something done with regard to utilizing that area, that west side area of the city. I think also, like I mentioned with Old Town, I think it's definitely an underutilized area. It is, as you know, living here our whole lives, that was not like that when we were young. And I think they have done a wonderful job developing it. It's very cute and it's very welcoming. And I just think that some effort needs to be focused there, because we've had some restaurants go in there that they're not successful. And so I think that developing that area with the art center there is really something that we should focus on. Now, as far as residential, we're pretty much landlocked. I can't remember the exact number, but I think we have maybe 5 acres over the entire city left for residential development. I think with regard to residential development, one issue is, our aging community. So I think that there's been a lot of discussion about how to provide, affordable housing for the age group of that. And my mom's one of them, and she lived here her entire life, and she still does live in Coppell as well. And it's just super expensive. So I think that there needs to be some focus on how to develop some kind of affordable living for our aging community so that we can keep them here, because obviously they're part of our rich Coppell history. And they love Coppell as much as we do. So we need to find a way to do some kind of residential development for them that is affordable.
Excellent. Moving on to another area, how do you think Coppell delivers services, and do you think that they deliver them in the most cost-effective manner? And we'd really like to hear specifics about improvements that you would like to advocate for.
I do think, having gone through last year's budget and this year's budget and the reduction of the revenue, we never, at the beginning of this, when this revenue thing happened, we never thought that it would be possible to come up with a budget that would account for this huge of a loss. And the council just, I guess, maybe 10 days ago or so, adopted the fiscal budget for next year, and they have done a fantastic job, honestly. They have taken the salaries for the employees have been frozen. The vacant positions in the city have been frozen. They didn't even increase the property tax amount. It's at 0.58, which is actually less than it was the year before. So, and it doesn't appear to me that they have decreased services or cut funding to many of the things that Coppell expects. So I actually really think that they have done a fantastic job with that. Obviously, they've also, unfortunately, had to push a few of the infrastructure projects and other projects back, which moving forward, all of that is going to have to come back around. And at some point, Beltline is going to have to be fixed, and so is Royal, and those are big projects. So I think that moving forward, you're going to have somebody on the council that is able to adjust and move forward with that, which, like I said, I think that the services that they provide are actually really great, and they've done a good job with that.
Excellent. Now, I know you spoke a little bit earlier about this, about the transparency with meetings and things like that, but I'd love to know, how would you rate the transparency and the decision-making in the city?
I've been very impressed with the transparency of the city, just in their willingness and desire to be transparent is definitely commendable. When they have meetings, they make sure that they ask for the citizens to be involved and ask for public comment and that type of thing. I really think it's just a matter of they need to get somebody in there that, I hate to say is my age group, but is more, has some ideas as far as how to type that out to the people better or make it more accessible. But I absolutely think that the desire to be transparent is strong with Coppell, because every meeting I go to, every meeting I've watched, they want the citizens to know. They try to collaborate ideas on how to get these out to the public and ways for them to be involved. So I think that the desire is there. I think that it can be improved upon if, with just a few very inexpensive small changes.
Excellent. And then last question I have for you is, and this is something we've asked all the candidates, is we'd like to know about your volunteer activities, and have you been involved in the community, or is your ambition only political just to get on the council?
It's so funny when you tell me that question, if it's only political. I think it's absolutely the opposite of political. So I have a political science degree. I have worked for Texas state senators as well as congressmen. I decided at some point that politics was not for me. And so that's why I went to law school and kind of went a different direction. So if it could be not further from being political, I really think that I'm doing this so that I think I have a fresh perspective and ideas, and I would love to serve the community in this way. As far as volunteer activities, my main volunteer focus is twofold. The first is I'm a member at Grace Point Church. So we have a lot of ministries that we are able to do outreach programs with the community and that type of thing. So that's where my volunteer has mainly been focused. And then secondly, I have the rare opportunity to be able to provide pro bono legal services in the area of family law, which I find, my clients are desperate for help. They need it. And there are people, we are very expensive. Lawyers are very expensive. So I find that one of my outlets for contributing and giving back to the community is to provide pro bono legal services to clients that can't afford it.
Excellent. Well, Erin, I just want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. And we really appreciate the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better. Again, thanks so much, and best of luck in the election.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching.